The bucks are so aggressive.
There's lots of activity.
You may get a chance to see that big deer that otherwise you wouldn't.
There may be a buck come from 5 miles away that you've never even seen before.
You see bucks, you see does, you see young bucks, you see old bucks. When their necks swell up, I think it cuts off the blood supply to their brain.
Bucks are running so hard, and the does are running so hard that they're sometimes oblivious to what's going on around them.
The rut's going on full force this week in Kansas, and today, that's where we'll be.
November, it's a magical time.
Great Days in God's Country. Sponsored by Great Day, making great days in the outdoors. Khmer Deer, the revolutionary deer attractant. Mossy Oak, it's not a passion, it's an obsession. And Delta Ag, improving plant performance.
What a great day.
The first couple of weeks of November in most of the Midwest, it's prime time for deer chasing action. And in the last 7 or 8 years, that's the time I go to Kansas.
Boy, there is magic in Kansas.
As far as whitetail deer hunting, I think it's as good as there is in the world.
Kansas has kind of become my favorite state just because of the big buck. Any minute, the buck of your dreams is liable to step out.
The whole state of Kansas produces big bucks from one end to the other.
When I found out I was going to Kansas with Joel, I was excited. I'm very excited. I love being in Kansas. Running the camera, hunting, it doesn't matter. It's a great place to be. And the time that we were going to be there, there's no telling what was going to happen.
This is the first time we've hunted on this piece of property. It's about 800 acres, mostly CRP, and it's got a creek running down one side with woods along the creek. And next to the woods is an area of cedars and plum thicket. We're the only ones hunting this piece of property this year, and there's definitely some big bucks on it. Now, my friend that owns the property has already got one deer stand set up in a really good place. We brought some stands, and we also brought some ground blinds, not knowing what the terrain was going to be like there.
We decided to get out, do a little bit of scouting.
Bait a couple of spots up with Khmer Deer, put a trail camera up, so it could be scouting for the next couple of days while we're sitting in the tree. For me, deer hunting is way more than just a shot. I love scouting.
The main thing in hunting is finding the animal. Making the shot is a little bit anticlimactic. Getting to that shot is really the thrill of the hunt.
And what really gets me excited in deer hunting is scouting and finding a buck and then going after him. Right here, and look at these tracks. I mean, just solid deer tracks. It's like a highway.
It's simply a process of elimination. It's really not a lot of difference between hunting deer and hunting bass. It's you go into the woods and you look for the source of food. You go on the water, you look for the source of food. The fish are going to be somewhere where the food is. The deer are going to be somewhere where the food is. It's very, very similar. And you've got to be able to locate before you can get yourself in a position to get a shot. You've got to be able to locate before you can get yourself in a position to catch fish. So the biggest challenge of all is hunting.
We came into this little wooded bottom that we got very excited about. Deer sign galore, everywhere you look.
I mean, the sign was crazy. I mean, deer scrapes and rubs all over the place. I mean, every 20 or 30 feet, it seems like there was a scrape on the ground. Another scrape right there. Another scrape right there. Another scrape. There, another scrape right there. We're using the Leaf River IR7 game cameras, and I've got it set to video mode. The trail that comes out of these woods is just right there where we walked up just a few minutes ago. And there's a really big scrape right here. What I'm going to do is I'm facing it kind of up the trail where I can see up the trail a little bit. And then there's a scrape there, so maybe there's going to be a few bucks that come and work that scrape. And then I'm going to put some shake and take from Khmer Deer. I'm going to put that out also, so maybe it'll get some deer to kind of hang up and stop.
So now we're running late. We get in here with all this excitement with this sign that we're seeing, and now it's time to hoof it back to the stand. We're not gonna make the afternoon hunt if we don't get on the ball. When I first laid eyes on the place where we were gonna be hunting that afternoon, what it was like some small cedar bushes with like 2 cottonwood trees right in the middle of this in the wide open. And I just couldn't quite put it all together why a deer would come out of the safe wooded area all the way across the field into this small island of trees to us. But they did.
It's November 6th, it's the chasing phase of the rut, and we're sitting on a prime piece of deer hunting ground in Kansas. We're seeing lots of deer, lots of chasing. And we're having some deer come into range, but the majority of the deer that we've been seeing over the last couple days have been out past 100 yards and even out past 300 or 400 yards. So now it's time to relocate. So about 10:30 we decided to get down out of the tree and go check our trail cameras and see what we could see on those and make a plan to decide where we're going to put up a stand. The first 2 cameras we came to, we really didn't see a whole lot that excited us. Quite a few events, lots of deer coming in and eating the Khmer deer and that sort of thing, but mostly does and small young bucks, 2- and 3-year-old bucks. Not exactly what we're looking for. But when we got to the 3rd place, which was really the best looking place that we came to, boy, it was a little bit different there. We saw quite a few little bit older bucks and 1 buck that really got my attention. We got some really great footage of this awesome 8-point that had kickers on both of his G2s. Man, I'll tell you, this is an awesome buck. If we can get set up in here and do it right, we might have a chance at him.
We knew from the time we laid eyes on this place that it was going to be a great place to hunt. After coming back and reviewing the trail camera photos, it absolutely confirmed it. We needed to get our stuff and get in this place and get to hunting.
There's no trees here where we felt good about putting a tree stand up, so we decided it was going to have to be a ground blind. So we quickly found a good spot, kind of tucked it up in off of the, there's a fence line there, we kind of tucked it in the fence line. It's always a really good idea to brush these blinds in with natural cover. You know, like these cedar branches. When we get this thing done, you ain't gonna be able to see it hardly at all. And what I always do, I always carry some of these zip ties here, wire cable ties, whatever you call them, and then I can kind of, you know, strap some of them either to the blind or strap them to each other so they don't fall if the wind blows and all that kind of stuff. We really wanted to hunt this spot like right now, but the problem is the wind was like the worst you could possibly ask for, and we knew that when we put it in there that the wind was going to have to be coming out of the west. The problem is the wind is out of the east today. I don't want to booger it up. I don't want to do the wrong thing and get messed up by hunting a bad wind. And we've got several more days that we can hunt, so we're just going to wait till we know we can have the right wind and get back in there. So we decided to go find a completely new spot. We saw an area that we had scoped out from the tree stand where we saw quite a few deer kind of ducking in and out of brush. It's kind of an open area, but there's a lot of plum thicket and cedar and that sort of thing. And so we decided to quickly put another ground blind up in the middle of that and then see what happens. That's pretty cool. I wish he was about 3 or 4 years older. Had another 75 inches of horn. Saw a pretty cool 9-point that was a very heavy horned deer. Had a little kicker and kind of a crab claw on one of the end of his beams. You know, when you're in a spot that you know there are Boone and Crockett deer, it just doesn't make sense to just, you know, shoot the first thing that comes out. And so, you know, I'm wanting to hold out and shoot a really nice deer. And I've seen a really nice deer on a trail camera in the spot that I wish I could be hunting at. But I'm waiting for a really good deer to come out here, or I'm waiting for the wind to treat me right so I can go back to the spot that I want to hunt at. We saw a lot of deer activity that afternoon. Quite a few bucks coming in, feeding on the come here deer. Lots of bucks rubbing the antlers on the trees and stuff like that. I mean, really, really neat stuff to watch. But we really weren't seeing exactly what we wanted. So that night we checked the weather. What's the wind going to do tomorrow? The wind was going to be shifting overnight to where it would be out of the west, which is exactly what we wanted. I'm excited. This is where they're going to be. I'm feeling very, very confident about the day for tomorrow. It's our 5th day in Kansas, and we're really excited about hunting this new spot. So we get up extra early this morning. We're going to sneak our way into this spot. The wind is right. It's very cool. It's probably about 35, 37 degrees. I mean, what more could you ask for? It's the chasing phase of the rut. The bucks are going crazy chasing does. We're going to get in there and we're going to do it right, and hopefully we're going to see the buck that we want to shoot. Daylight till dark, if that's what it takes.
There's a CRP field and then a strip of timber, and then just on the other side of that strip of timber is where we're going to be hunting. And in between there, all the leaves had fell from all these trees, and it was real loud and crunchy. We were so confident, me and Joe went through and made a trail so we could walk in the morning we decided to come in there without even making a sound.
So we tiptoed very quietly down the trail that we'd raked the leaves out of, so we could be super quiet getting in there.
My chest was puffed out. I was confident. There was no doubt in my mind we were going to walk in that blind and sit down in that blind, and before the day was over with, we were going to have a deer. I mean, I felt that good about it.
I slipped out in front of the blind and put out some come here deer, a shake and take and 3-day harvest.
And then to finally be able to get into the blind that we've been wanting to hunt all week long. And we took food, we took water, we took everything you needed. We were going to be there from daylight till dark, no matter what. And I had nothing but confidence when we walked in there that morning. I knew it was going to happen.
It's going to be a great day.
It's finally here. We're sitting in the blind. We're excited. It's starting to break daylight.
Even before it got light, we were hearing deer making movements around us, running through the woods. We could hear grunting. I mean, it was very, very exciting. I mean, it was like, I wish we could see, you know, what's that? I wonder what that is behind us running around. And we had deer all the way around us, just going all different directions. I mean, it was a really exciting morning, even before daylight.
We just know it's something's fixing to happen.
As the sun started lighting everything up, we could see deer moving out in front of us. In the last couple of days, we saw a lot of deer, but it was just amazing. This particular day, it was like the switch got turned on.
Bucks were on their feet. They were moving. The activity was through the roof, off the charts. It was going to be an awesome day. It'd been about 30 minutes since we'd seen our last deer, and then suddenly Joel and I at the same exact time spotted him coming through the brush.
As soon as I got my binoculars up, I recognized that's my buck. But just as quickly as I saw him, he was gone. It's like, is that the only chance I'm going to have at seeing this deer? Then an hour later, I looked up and saw more movement coming through the woods.
And here he is, he's back.
It's him, that's the buck. Maybe I'm going to have an opportunity at getting it. But just like the time before, it's just a quick glimpse. He's just moving through really quickly.
Running a doe.
We continued to see deer off and on all afternoon, lots of bucks. In fact, there was at one point, it was like one right after the other, bucks coming through, just checking the ground, looking for does. About 3:30, I looked up and seen a doe moving through the woods. And she was acting kind of funny, so I thought, you know, I better look for just a little bit longer. And sure enough, there was a good buck. I couldn't tell much about him because there was a lot of branches and brush in the way, but I could see a heavy beam. And then it wasn't long before I recognized it's my buck, and he's coming. He's following this doe. This doe has already walked past in front of the blind, and I'm telling you, my heart is about to explode. It's going so fast. And he gets right out in front of the opening. I don't think he's gonna stop, so I have to stop him.
Oh, he ducked the arrow.
What the heck? I clipped just the top of his back. I'm absolutely sick. I'm thinking, did I make a bad shot?
That son of a gun dropped a foot.
Words can't describe the feeling that I'm going through sitting in the blind at this point. I'm absolutely sick at my stomach. He's ducked the arrow, and now I've just shot the top of his back, and he's running off, and now I've lost my opportunity at the buck I was wanting to get.
And believe it or not, that deer is coming back.
This portion of Great Days in God's Country is brought to you by Great Day, making great days in the outdoors. I'm absolutely sick at my stomach. He's ducked the arrow, and now I've just shot the top of his back, and he's running off, and now I've lost my opportunity at the buck I was wanting to get. And to make things worse, David, my camera guy, is making a joke telling me that the deer is coming back.
I'm not joking, this deer's coming back.
The truth is, the deer is coming back.
Joel is, you know, he can't see where I can see with the camera, and he is, I mean, I'm having to convince him that this buck is coming back following a doe.
So I kind of inch my way up and look, and I see the doe. I don't see the buck, but I do see the doe, and she's coming right to us.
I can't believe this deer just took an arrow high, very high, just through the skin, made a big circle to the right of us, and instead of leaving the area, begins to follow a doe right back to us.
He doesn't act like there's anything wrong with him. And this doe is steadily coming closer. In fact,
She was too close, I know that. That was a case that we might have put the Khmer deer a little too close.
it couldn't be more than 5 yards from the blind. And this doe is standing right there, and the wind has absolutely calmed down to nothing. And you can't breathe. If you breathe, that doe's gonna hear you and she's gonna take off. You would not believe the tension that was going on with that deer standing 6, 7 yards in front of us. If he was going to continue down the same trail that the doe came down, I don't know how in the world I was going to be able to draw on him. But thank goodness he turned and walked down this other trail.
I'm dumbfounded. I cannot believe that this buck, I mean, he's obviously wasn't a young deer, you know? He done the same exact thing twice in a row.
This time he hesitates, and I don't. Got it. Smoked him that time. I can't believe that buck came back for round 2. What was that?
You know, divine intervention, luck, what do you want to call it? It just don't happen. But it happened. This has been a great week in God's country. We've had tons of fun, lots of laughs, seen lots of deer, got a deer, got a second chance at a deer.
There's my arrow right there. I'm really, really pumped up about the Swacker. This is the first deer that I've been able to take with a swacker.
To make a shoulder shot and hit that shoulder plate to get through the bone, I mean, and it was devastating. Absolutely impressive.
We swacked him, didn't we? There he is right there. Oh my gosh. What a buck. Oh, holy moly. What in the heck? What an awesome buck. This is so cool. He got trash all over. Look at that. Isn't that the coolest thing right there? Look at that. What an awesome buck. This buck got himself in trouble chasing that doe. If it hadn't have been for that, I don't think that I would have had a chance at this deer, at least a second chance for sure. And definitely the Khmer deer did its job. Because that doe, she got spooked. She didn't know what happened, but she sure did come back for the Khmer deer. And the buck made the mistake of following her. Look at the mass on this. I mean, he carries his mass all the way out. Started to make another point right here. He's got kickers back here coming off of near his base. I mean, he's got it going on. There's a lot of lessons from life we can learn from spending time in God's country and hunting. Like today, I found out how I could have a second chance at a buck that I would have never dreamed possible. And that reminds me of how God gives us all a second chance when we really don't deserve it. And this is such a cool deer. Tons of character. Tons of character. And along with the trophy, that's what I take away from a great day in God's country. Thank you, Lord. I've got a power loader by Great Day. I can load this deer up and take him out and not have to have help. That's all the picking up I gotta do. Just 2 or 3 little tugs. Kind of get him tight. And on up.